Bombay High Court today came down heavily on independent member of parliament Navneet Rana and her husband MLA Ravi Rana's plans to recite the Hanuman Chalisa at Matoshri, the residence of Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. A division bench comprising Justices P.B. Varale and S.M. Modak observed that the state is justified in its apprehension that such an act could lead to disturbance in law and order. The court also said that declaration to read religious verses in someone's house or even in public spaces is a breach of personal liberty. Our Maharashtra Bureau with our top story.
Persons in public life expected to act responsibly. Declaration of reciting religious verses at personal residence or public place, a breach of personal liberty of another person. State justified in holding apprehension about law and order being disturbed. With these sharp observations, the Bombay High Court dismissed independent MP Navneet Rana and her husband MLA Ravi Rana's plea which sought quashing of FIR against them. Navneet Rana continues to remain in Mumbai's Baikula jail while her husband is in Taluja jail. The couple are charged with sedition, promoting enmity and disrupting harmony.
Our case is that the presence of the police officers in the house at that time was not in discharge of their public service.
मेरा कहना ऐसा है कि ये न्यायालय ने बताने की जरूरत नहीं थी और न्यायालय को ये बताना पड़ रहा है और न्यायालय ने जो कहा है कि ग्रेट व्हेन यू हैव ग्रेट पावर्स यू हैव ग्रेट रिस्पांसिबिलिटीज आल्सो, ऐसा न्यायालय को कहना पड़ा है। यानी हम जो सामान्य आदमी समझ सकते हैं वो लगता है जो रिस्पांसिबल पोस्ट पे जो लोग हैं वो समझ नहीं रहे।
While the legal battle continues, the Amravati MP has made some sensational allegations. Navneet Rana claims that while she was in custody in Khar police station, she was tortured, abused and suffered caste bias. Rana has now written to Lok Sabha Speaker claiming that she was not provided drinking water throughout the night. She claims she was told by cops that neech zaat ke logon ko pani nahi dete. Navneet also alleges that she was abused on the basis of her caste in the most filthy language. She was allegedly also told that people from Nichi Zaat did not use bathrooms in the Khar police station and that the lockup was worse than what animals are treated.
की एका स्त्री करता हजारो लोक जमा करता त्यांच्या घरी जाऊन त्यांना पोलीस अटक करता आणि जणू काही पाकिस्तानची युद्ध जिंकल्यासारखं जल्लोष करता। काय अवस्था आहे यावी?
मैं हैरान इस बात को लेकर हूं कि महाराष्ट्र के पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अब प्रवक्ता बन गए हैं एक इंडिपेंडेंट एमपी और एमएलए के लिए। वो इंडिपेंडेंट एमपी जो 2019 में उन्होंने प्रोटेस्ट बकायदा वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करके जारी किया था कि उनको जय श्री राम के नारों से आपत्ति है, वो इंडिपेंडेंट एमपी जिनको मुंबई हाई कोर्ट ने बकायदा कहा है बोगस कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट उनका है, उनके पास एक बोगस राशन कार्ड है और उनका बोगस स्कूल लीविंग सर्टिफिकेट है।
The Lok Sabha Secretariat has sought a report on Navneet Rana's allegations within 24 hours.
The Hanuman Chalisa versus the Azan debate has only taken a political turn in Maharashtra, with the BJP openly backing the Rana couple. They have accused the Uddhav Thackeray government of being intolerant, while the Uddhav Thackeray government on the other hand has sought, in fact requested the central government to further intervention. But until that happens, the entire debate is only going to get louder. With cameraman Sameer Shanbag in Mumbai, Vidya for India Today.
We'll discuss this in greater detail, but before we do that, this Azan versus Hanuman Chalisa loudspeaker controversy is only getting shriller now. The BJP is openly backing Navneet Rana and her husband. They're calling the arrest illegal. The Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government tried to douse this fire by calling for an all-party meeting, but opposition leaders refused to attend this meeting. And now the Shiv Sena is telling the BJP, warning the BJP, don't try Dadagiri. Bala Saheb Thackeray has taught us how to deal with Dadagiri. Take a look.
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुरु सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलधामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथे ध्वज बजा विराजे कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजे संकट सुवर्ण केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजग वंदन विद्यावान गुणी चातुर राम काज करिबे कातुर पूर्ण मुंडा
The Ranas, an MP-MLA couple behind bars for threatening to chant the Hanuman Chalisa outside Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's residence. The stringent sedition charge that has been slapped against the couple has opened a political can of worms. As the Azan Hanuman Chalisa loudspeaker controversy snowballs, the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, in a bid to quell the fire, called an all-party meet, but that too was a complete flop, as most opposition leaders refused to attend the meet that even Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray wasn't present for.
आम्ही आजच्या बैठकीवर बहिष्कार घातलाय. महाराष्ट्रामध्ये अशा प्रकारची परिस्थिती आम्ही कधीच बघितली नाही की सरकार पक्षाचे लोक पोलीस संरक्षणामध्ये विरोधी पक्ष आपल्या भ्रष्टाचारावर बोलतो म्हणून जीवे मारण्याकरता हल्ला करतात.
But the Maharashtra government remains defiant. They are now taking this fight to the national capital.
सारे जो दल थे वहाँ उन्होंने यही कहा है कि हम केंद्र सरकार से भी इस पे कुछ बातचीत करें, और दूसरा क्योंकि ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का मामला है तो जो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ऑर्डर्स है उसका फॉलो अप होना चाहिए, लेकिन ये फॉलो करते हुए किसी को भी तकलीफ ना हो, यही हमारा मानना है. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का इशू ना हो, ये भी हम उस पे बात पक्की करके आ जाए.
The BJP meanwhile is also upping the ante on the assault on its leader Kirit Somaiya. The former BJP MP met Minister of State for Home and the Union Home Secretary, alleging he was attacked by Shiv Sena workers in the presence of police.
महाराष्ट्र की पुलिस की उपस्थिति में इस प्रकार से मारपीट करना, धमकियां देना, ये हिंदुस्तान के संविधान में जो मूलभूत अधिकार है उसकी हत्या है.
किसी को यहाँ थोड़ा खून आ गया है, हाँ, तो राष्ट्रपति शासन लगाने के लिए भाग रहे. अगर आपकी कोई समस्या है तो आप महाराष्ट्र के मुख्यमंत्री से मिलिए, महाराष्ट्र के गृह मंत्री से मिलिए, आप उनको अपना निवेदन दीजिए. महाराष्ट्र में उद्धव ठाकरे के नेतृत्व में काम हो रहा है, तो यहाँ से भागेंगे 4-5 लोग पकड़कर, दिल्ली में उठेंगे, महाराष्ट्र को बदनाम करेंगे.
The loudspeaker dangal isn't going to end anytime soon. An NCP neta has now shot off a letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah with this demand.
क्या मुझे हमारे मोटा भाई आदरणीय अमित शाह जी पीएम आवास के बाहर हमें परमिशन देंगे क्या? मैं तो सिर्फ हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ने के लिए परमिशन नहीं मांगी थी. हमारे भारत में जितने भी धर्म है वो सब धर्मों की मैं सद्भावना करती हूँ और मैं सब धर्म का श्लोक पढ़ना चाहती थी.
With Dev Kotak in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today. And joining me on the news track, Shweta Shalini represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. Gurdeep Sapal is the spokesperson of the Congress. Dr. Tasleem Ahmed Rahmani is the president of the Muslim Political Council of India. And Zainab Sikander is a columnist and writer. Shweta Shalini, you heard the Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, and very clearly he's warning the BJP, back off. It's not Ghantadari Hindutva, it's Gadadhari Hindutva. You want to recite the Hanuman Chalisa? Take my permission, but don't create a law and order situation. Law and order situation is also something, Shweta Shalini, that the Bombay High Court spoke of.
Okay, Gaurav, thank you so much for having me here. First and foremost, let me verbatim tell you exactly what the High Court has said. High Court has said that reciting the Hanuman Chalisa is a breach of personal liberty. So we understand now that if I'm reciting the Hanuman Chalisa on a free road, which is right in front, which could be right in front of Matoshri, it is breach of personal liberty of my own chief minister, who at one point of time was, representing a Hindutva party. Having said that, we have seen Gadadhari Hindutva, what he means by that. Kirit Somaiya had blood all over his face, and Sanjay Raut ji practically said that if somebody takes pangas with us, we are going to bury you 20 feet deep into the and you'll not even find the grave. No action has been taken on any or each one of them. In fact, a whole lot of Shiv Sainiks were in front of Navneet Rana's home a lot of them, hundreds of them, attacked Mohit Kambod's vehicle. No action has been taken, and yet when you go to the High Court says that it is the breach of personal liberty of the Chief Minister. Baba Saheb Ambedkar in the Constitution has given us right to protest, to raise a voice against what is wrong, and the judiciary, this is not the first time that Supreme Court will rule against what the High Court has said. It has happened in
what
Deshmukh
the
case,
Supreme
and
Court
I'm sure
does,
that
you know,
Supreme
we'll
Court,
leave it to the wisdom of the apex court. But Zainab Sikander, दादागिरी कैसे तोड़नी है बाला साहेब ने सिखाया है, or words to that effect. Is this the language in a democracy?
Language of democracy has anyway been changed now in these last 7 years so many times that even something like go to Pakistan is allowed. So if, Dadagiri and all is being used now by politicians, to make their point, this has just come down to petty politics, because now it's a game of who is the real person who knows Hindutva and who has fake Hindutva agenda. In fact, BJP MLA Girish Mahajan had actually said this in an interview, that Uddhav Thackeray is a fake Hindutva guy and the public will see it. It's all about the BMC polls, nothing more. And the chronology is pretty much the same. The playbook is same. If you see Jahangirpuri, Delhi MCD elections are right around the corner. Khargone, Madhya Pradesh is going into elections, in the late half of next year. So every time there is an election, communal fires are stoked. Why? Because we are not talking about governance. Nobody wants to talk about inflation. Nobody wants to talk about unemployment. Nobody wants to talk about how India is going so down below in its GDP rate also. So by the end of it, communal issues rake up only when elections are around the corner. And that's why Hindutva, these independent MLAs coming and making these dramatized, religious, this is all symbolism.
No, but explain this. In India, some election or the other will happen.
Gaurav ji, can I come in?
Yeah, elections happen, 365 days a year, all through those 5 years.
No, but
why is it? Okay, fine.
Explain
Respond.
it to Shivam Shukla. Can Zainab go and explain it to the family of Shivam Shukla, who is almost in the ICU for the last so many days, for having hurt in those stones pelted during the Ram Navami procession? She's saying it's all because of the elections.
Madam, then I would also like to tell you that carrying weapons in a religious procession, that too on Hanuman Jayanti, Hanuman ji ka Chalisa padhte, I keep on saying this, Hanuman ji,
swords and rods inside the masjid.
Yeah, one
that
by
is
one.
allowed, right? That is definitely allowed, right?
One by one.
No,
okay, ma'am, you've made a point.
Ma'am,
you've made a point. Let
masjid,
Zainab Sikander respond. I'll bring in other guests also. Ma'am, you've made a point. Ms. Sikander, please respond, ma'am.
Yes, I'm not here to get into the communal trap of BJP. I'm here to only talk about logic. Look, Gaurav, Ulhasnagar police is right now conducting mock drill for riots. Mumbai police is making a list of elements who created communal riots before. Is this what responsible politicians should be doing? When you know the whole country, there have been 2 major incidents that have happened in Madhya Pradesh and Delhi. Whoever is responsible for it, the police will find out. I have enough faith in the police of our country that they will find out. Then whoever it is, because this lady from BJP is saying that mosques are keeping swords. If they are keeping swords, please arrest them. I'm not here to speak on anyone's behalf, but I'm saying the investigation will happen. Whoever is wrong will be shown, and we are more than happy. But you can't be a responsible politician and stoke communal fires like this. Even on media, we have to be very responsible the way we talk. We can't be talking in a way that makes people more aggressive. We need to tell people what is right and wrong. If we are already doing mock drills now again for a riot in Mumbai, then you are not a responsible politician. You don't know.
You're absolutely right on action that is required in every situation against all accused. That should be the template that should be used. And before I bring in Mr. Sapal, okay, you want to quickly respond? Go ahead, Shweta Shalini, quickly make your point, ma'am.
Yes, few seconds. See, one of the most important things that needs to be understood here, that this is a democracy. The whole question is about the fact that do I have under 19A, do I have the freedom of my own religion and reciting whatever I want to in free open space. And the second question is, for a crime that did not get committed, can the state charge a person? She never went. She called it off, yet it was done. So please understand, ma'am, the logic here is that no government, no chief minister can think that he can rule as a Hitler or as a dictator, and that's where we are raising a voice, not making aggressive, illogical comments.
Okay. Zainab Sikander, before I bring in Mr. Sapal, you want to quickly respond to the point about dictatorial attitude, whether it's Devendra Fadnavis alleging this about, Uddhav Thackeray or the BJP as a party saying sedition cases for wanting to recite the Hanuman Chalisa. The Congress actually wanted to remove sedition, 2019 manifesto, that's what the Congress said. But look at what's happening on ground.
I'm also personally against, sedition charges in general, but you have to, Gaurav, you know it better than anyone, that there have been so many wrong sedition charges charged on so many people in the past few years. And I'm not going to take any names, but sedition charges now are being used by candy each time you pass it out to anyone who is not going according to you. You have to understand there have been 2 past incidents of rioting in the last month. We cannot afford another riot. As a country, we are looking ridiculous that we can't even ensure that, our common citizens are safe. Why? Because politicians on their whims and fancies want to create agendas based on religion. That is the reason if this lady who's saying that this lady was Navneet Rana was arrested even before she did what she had to, it's because we are maintaining law and order. Before something bad happens, we have to maintain law and order. And that is something that is clearly defined by our own law, that before something, unexpected happens, let's stop it. What's the point otherwise? ये तो वही वाली बात होगी कि crime के बाद आप वहां पर आ रहे हैं. So law and order is
so preemptive action is being taken is what you're saying, and that's exactly, Shweta Shalini, that's exactly what the court also said. The court very clearly said that the state is justified in its apprehension that such an act will lead to disturbance in law and order situation, madam. So why recite the Hanuman Chalisa outside Matoshri and not at their own house, ma'am?
Okay, perfect. If this question is to me, I completely respect what the Honorable High Court and the Honorable Judges have said. Well, we will reappeal and we'll see if somebody else looks at it differently. But then the fact again comes back and the logic still remains. And Madam Sikander has been saying again and again, 2 acts of 2 riots. Please note that every Ram Navami procession, whether in Jharkhand or in Delhi or in Rajasthan or in Gujarat, was attacked from a mosque, and stones were heaped inside the mosque. So if preventive action would have been taken in Rajasthan, probably Shivam Shukla would have been in good faith right now. But the fact is, why take preventive action when she has called off, when she declares in public that now I will not go, and yet sedition charges, and you rightly said, Gaurav, sedition charges is a draconian act. It was last applied, and the last time a person faced a draconian act of sedition was Bal Gangadhar Tilak. And post that, yes, governments have been using it for all wrong purposes. And that's the reason why Congress has been saying that we will remove the act. But here in Maharashtra, the Maha Vikas Aghadi government is a Congress government. Is all 3 of them together. And now they have the face to come forward and justify what they're saying.
Okay, let me take this to Gurdeep Sapal also. Sir, apologies for coming late. We're just trying to set that audio link. Congress in its manifesto wanted sedition to be withdrawn, but in Maharashtra, sedition slapped on a sitting member of parliament. Is there a huge difference in what the Congress says in its election manifesto and what is actually done on ground in a state where the Congress is part of the government, sir?
Gaurav, let me first react to what Ms. Shweta has been saying in this show. And I'm quite amused hearing to her. Because for last few years, ad nauseum, BJP has been telling us that there's no right to protest, be it the farmers' agitation, be it the anti-CAA protest. BJP spokesperson, BJP leaders have been coming on television.
No wonder.
There's no such right.
One by one. Ma'am, kindly let him finish his point. I'll come to you.
Let me complete. Then she said, how can you arrest a person before a crime is committed? Have you forgotten Munawar Farooqi, what your Madhya Pradesh government did? Or have you, you are speaking about freedom of speech. Have you forgotten what your government is doing to Jignesh Mewani? Suddenly the shoe is on the other foot. And I am seeing that BJP is reacting in a manner that today she is not even expressing any faith in the verdict by the judiciary. She says that we'll look for another judge who can give some other decision on this issue. Are you saying that the judges can be manipulated as per your choice? Is this the BJP's stand today? Today you are trying to create a law and order problem. BJP as a party is trying to create a law and order problem in Maharashtra against which any government will act. There's something called preventive detention. Has BJP given up on preventive detention? Have you stopped using the Sedition Act on so many people in last 8 years since Modi government came into power? Have you stopped?
So I'll get Shweta Shalini to respond to that, sir. I'll get her to respond to that. But on the point of sedition, is the Congress now doing a rethink on sedition? You think sedition is okay now? Or sedition is okay if the Congress government implements it? If the Congress government puts those cases?
As a party, we are against the sedition law. We are against sedition law. But it's a coalition government and we stand by what the Maharashtra government has done. Issue is what BJP is doing. Today, BJP is ruling 18 states in this country. Everywhere, the rule about Ajaan is same. Everywhere, the law is same. Everywhere, the Supreme Court judgment of 2006 holds. But BJP is protesting in 2 states where it wants to create a law and order problem. BJP has not changed the law in the states that it is ruling.
Okay.
Why BJP is not doing the same things in the state where it is ruling? And let me tell you, it is about law and order. When 2006 judgment came Supreme Court and it said that no loudspeakers can be used from 10 p.m. to morning 6 p.m. Nobody opposed it. Nobody in India opposed it. When the second judgment came of silence zones, that you cannot have loudspeakers in silence zones in any city, nobody opposed it. So BJP is not talking of any solution.
Okay.
BJP just wants to pick up an issue.
Can I respond?
Shweta Shalini wants to respond. Shweta Shalini wants to respond because...
Now that
okay.
Mr. Sapal has finished, can I respond?
Go on,
Gaurav, very quickly, one after the other. First and foremost, I want to remind Mr. Sapal that Navneet Rana and the couple Rana are not BJP. Second, and I'm not their spokesperson. We stand with Hanuman Chalisa. We stand with Hanuman. Second, see, I think there was an audio problem. Looks like he did not hear what I said. We have the right. The Constitution gives our right for us to go to the Supreme Court. We will go to the Supreme Court. They will go to the Supreme Court. Anybody has the right. And if the Supreme Court listens to us, great. Otherwise, I said I respect what the judges have said. Third, and the most important thing.
No, you did say it. You didn't say it.
One by one.
Yes, I said it, that I respect what High Court has said. We will appeal and I have the right to appeal. Most importantly, do you know for last 7 years, how many things have been said against Modi? Please go back and check how many sedition charges have been applied against what has been said against Modi. And most importantly, do you remember Shaheen Bagh? I used to come on debates and you people would support Shaheen Bagh. They actually sat on a road. And you said we have not given a right to protest. The entire farmers' protest, we actually rolled out, Shri Narendra Modi rolled back the laws just on the protest. And you say that we have not given the right to protest. Have you forgotten the people who have said Bharat Tere Tukde Honge Hazar? Has sedition been applied to them? Have you forgotten Sharjeel Usmani? Has sedition been applied on them? What are you talking on
Let me bring in
television?
Dr. Tasleem Ahmad Rahmani before Mr. Okay,
there are 3,000 illegal loudspeakers in Mumbai itself. Forget about 10,000 in Maharashtra. We are against loudspeaker. We are not against Muslims. We are not against the Adhan.
Okay, you're against loudspeakers is what you're saying. No. I'll come to that aspect in just a moment. Mr. Sapal wants to respond before I bring in Mr. Rahmani.
Ms. Shweta, you have counted the illegal loudspeakers in Maharashtra. How many illegal loudspeakers are in the 18 states ruled by BJP? What are you doing about them? Or you only want to create discord in a state?
Please go back and check, Mr. Sapal, what we are doing in UP. Next time when I come to debate with you, please go back and see.
No, please tell me.
What
Please
Yogi,
tell me.
Yogi ji, please go back and check. I'm not here to increase your knowledge, right? And that is not
Okay. One by one. Let's not get derailed. Dr. Rahmani, let me bring in Taslim Ahmed Rahmani. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I want to bring in Taslim Ahmed Rahmani. The Bombay High Court. Hold on. All faders go down, please. The Bombay High Court, Dr. Rahmani, also said declaration to read religious verses in someone's house or, and I emphasize here, public spaces is a breach of personal liberty. Sir, will this have far-reaching ramifications and implications for all religions, including namaz on the road? Dr. Rahmani.
You see, Gaurav, first of all, I am very much at pain, and I am sorry that the use of the religious things are being dragged and insulted and disrespected at the hand of those politicians who are trying to capture or retain some political space in their constituencies. This is not an issue of Azan. This is not an issue of Hanuman Chalisa. And believe me, I respect more the Hanuman Chalisa, or it is equally a Azan and Hanuman Chalisa, and I am at pain because the Hanuman Chalisa is disrespected. It is insulted at the hand of some malicious political intentions. It's not the love of Hanuman Chalisa whosoever is trying to go out of the streets and say that we'll chant Hanuman Chalisa here and there and there. I don't approve it. I appeal to the journal Hindus, my Hindu brothers, to stop this kind of disrespecting the religious sculptures in the country, be it the Azan or be it the Hanuman Chalisa or any other religious...
no, so what you're saying is no Azan on the road, no Hanuman Chalisa on the road. Is that your take, sir?
I want to emphasize, the Azan, no, Azan is... Supreme Court has a standing instruction and everybody has to abide it. By that, and if anybody is still not abiding by that, I appeal to all Muslims across the country through your channel that please respect the Supreme Court orders and minimize the sound of your loudspeakers as per the up to the decibel points mentioned by the Supreme Court of India and the timings. You have to abide by that. There is no question of not abiding those things. And even the if you have to remove the loudspeaker, there is no problem to remove the loudspeakers at all. But then that must not become a political issue for a nasty politics of a few lost politicians who have no space in the politics of Maharashtra or elsewhere in the country, or the people who are trying to create hatred among us, the fellow citizens in the whole country, and denying and neglecting our economic interest, our social interest, and our political, the country integrity interest.
No, but that's an interesting point to make there. Let me take this to Zainab Sikander also before I bring in Shweta Shalini and Gurdeep Sapal on this aspect. No namaz on the road, no Hanuman Chalisa on the road, restricted to private spaces or places of religious worship, not on the road. Is that where we are headed in your appreciation? Zainab Sikander, you first, ma'am.
Absolutely, Gaurav. Anyway, there is no namaz on the road. Whatever was happening in Haryana, because, for example, New Gurgaon only has 2 mosques, out of which 1 is under construction. Thousands of people can't read namaz there. It was happening on the roads. That's why it was happening on the roads in Gurgaon, and that has also been stopped. So namaz on the road is anyway a no-go now. And as for, other religious processions that happened, nobody had an objection. It is because you politicized religious processions in public so much that now it is obvious that the same rule applies for all religions. And I would like to tell Shalini ji one thing that she should know. In Mumbai, 72% of mosques have removed their loudspeakers. You can check it. This is a police survey. This is a Mumbai police survey that 72% of mosques in Mumbai have removed their loudspeakers. So everyone is adhering. Let's not be petty in politics. Please stick to governance. That's what politicians are for.
Okay. Shweta Shalini, respond, because Uddhav Thackeray has also challenged BJP's Hindutva. He's very clear. Shiv Sena follows the Gadadhari Hindutva, not the Ghantadhari Hindutva. Is this, in your view, ma'am, a basic...
I condemn this statement as well. I condemn this statement as well. This Gadadhari or the Ghantadhari or the Tilakdhari. Hindu is a respectable community in the country. You cannot name and shame by using such kind of words. I condemn the Shiv Sena for such kind of terminology, and I condemn the Manse for such kind of any of this kind of. We have to respect
Manse,
all the
Shiv
religions
Sena,
in the country, be it the Hindu, Muslim, or whatever. So you must not use.
Okay.
So
Fair
I
enough.
think I completely welcome what Rahmani ji has said. In fact, we are ready. We want to talk about progress. All we want to talk about is Vikas. We have said Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. The fact is, the only point that we are fighting on is there needs to be equality. There needs to be equality. When Ms. Sikander comes down and says that there are only 2 mosques in Haryana, she has forgotten that about a week ago there were 150 people who were charged for doing namaz on the road in Agra. So there are many places, especially in Mumbai, where traffic is stopped and people do the namaz on the road itself. So see, I'm not against namaz. I'm not against
But you are talking
what
like
I'm
you are
basically
against.
saying.
You are talking in a very communal tone, ma'am.
This is not about Namaz or Hanuman Chalisa.
You are talking in a
No, for
communal tone, ma'am.
BJP, this is a political commodity.
One by one. Okay. My request is, okay, hold on. Dr. Rahmani, let Ms. Shweta Shalini finish her point. Then Zainab Sikander and then you, sir. One by one, please.
In any case happens inside. It's only Hanuman Chalisa that happens outside.
No, I never said that.
You were communal when you said that.
Please don't lie on national television. We see the recorded
you just
show.
said it. Please,
See
everyone
the
heard
recorded
it.
show.
You lied and you are
See the
still lying.
recorded show.
And I don't
One by one.
I don't want
I
to
will not fall
go
for your
ahead and
communal
debate
trap, ma'am.
whether you
I will
are-
not fall for your communal trap. I'm not a
Everyone has
politician.
fallen for what
I'm
you
not a
have been doing.
politician.
So it's
I'm
fine.
not a
It's fine. I
politician,
know.
ma'am.
I understand.
I'm not a
You just said
politician.
that it is the Hindu
I'm not a
procession that carries the
politician.
sword. While the
Listen,
swords
you have to
were taken
listen.
out by people
Don't
who
be
were
so
inside the
aggressive.
masjid.
Don't be so
But you
aggressive.
did not do
You will
that.
get nothing
One by
out of
one.
shouting
One by
on
I'm
one.
a Hindu.
You
I'm a
have to
proud
have a
Hindu.
shouting.
I stand for
ma'am,
a
you
Hindutva
should
party.
be. You should be.
I
You
will. Of
should
course,
be.
I am.
You don't have to be aggressive about it. You don't have to be aggressive about it.
Why
You
should I be
you don't need to
aggressive
shout
about
on
something that
mic.
is right?
You don't
What
need to
is
shout.
you are shouting? You are lying.
not.
You
I'm
are lying,
smiling. I'm
and now
smiling.
you are getting defensive because I actually pointed out your communal thought
You should
process.
see the
That's
show.
the reason
You should
why
see the show. It will embarrass you.
You are. Oh, please
should see
come
the
on.
show.
I'm not
You should
embarrassed
see the show.
about my belief system. I'm
I'm
quite
saying
certain
about what you're
saying and
talking.
I'm
About what
right
you're
about.
talking.
You
About
were
what you're
communal
talking.
in your approach. You just said that it is the Hindus that carried the swords, and
No,
while
I
the
never
stones
said that.
and the swords
Yes,
and the
in the
rods
Shobha Yatra,
came
yes.
inside
Yes,
from
in the Shobha Yatra, it is on video
we all
that
know
in
what
the
Muharram
Shobha
is all
Yatra
about.
in
We know
Jahangir
what happened in
What about
Jahangir
me?
Puri,
What
who
about
pelted
me?
who
This is what
pelted the
about
stones
me?
and who took out the
Jahangir
swords and
Puri.
who took out the rods. So please do not teach me. I am aggressive.
Shobha
I am
Yatra
strong about
is
my
not
belief
that.
system.
But
and I
you know,
will
the
stand
fact
by
is,
it.
this
And
is a
nobody
matter of
tells me
investigation.
Because my country, my law.
Yes, but it is for the police. Okay, both of you. Both of you. My request is, it is for the police. It is for the police to investigate. The police will investigate, and whoever is guilty, whether those who are wielding the sword, or those who were allegedly pelting stones from a place of religious worship, whoever, the police will investigate and it is sincerely hoped that they will take legal and penal action against the accused and punish them. Because, you know, we need communal harmony in this country.
This is the BJP alone in the country.
We need communal harmony in this country.
To convert that is
Gaurav,
using the religion as a political
I think
commodity.
we are also in the debate.
It's only the BJP and RSS which is converting the religion as a political commodity, and that must be condemned.
Sir, whoever,
okay,
Mr. Sapal wants to respond. Mr. Sapal wants to respond. The fight that is happening right now between the BJP and the Shiv Sena, Mr. Sapal, is this Hindutva versus hard right Hindutva? What's happening in Maharashtra? Is it now BJP versus Shiv Sena? Where does the Congress stand here? Is it just watching it from the sidelines? Is the Congress not an active player in Maharashtra politics when it comes to elections?
Thank you for asking me to speak, because I've been listening to Ms. Shweta, who's continuing like a trained parrot. BJP spokesperson, when they do not have an answer, they keep on harping on same point. But thank you for calling me. Issue here is, I have been listening to her, and we have been watching what is happening in Maharashtra. Maharashtra, there's a simple case that people belonging to BJP and people now, I will say, close to BJP, because she said Navneet Rana is not their MP. But of course, she's close to BJP. They have been trying to disturb the social peace. They have been trying to tear away the social fabric of Maharashtra. And it is a duty of any government to strike hard and strike back and ensure that there are no riots, ensure that people are not divided on religious lines. This is what BJP is trying, and this is what Maharashtra government is trying to stop. Now she says, we sabka saath, sabka vishwas. And she has been counting about so many riots which have happened recently. Please, Ms. Shweta, please tell me, in the Jangirpuri, in Khargaon, you have taken action against certain rioters. Okay, let the judicial process find out whether they are innocent or whether they are rioters, and the courts will punish them. But in those processions, there were people carrying swords. And carrying a sword, supplying a sword is a crime under Arms Rules Act. What is the action taken by Delhi police? What is the action taken by Maharashtra police against those people who were carrying swords? Have you tried to find out the source of the sword? Who supplied them? Who procured them? And by the way, we are doing it in Rajasthan. So please do not bring in Karoli. Karoli police is doing it. But in Delhi, how many people have you traced? Who were the suppliers of those swords? Who were the procurement? Who did the procurement of those swords? If you are talking about Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Saath, please tell me, what is the action taken so far in Delhi and Khargaon against those people who supplied those salware to the protesters? Have you tried to find them out?
Okay, Shweta Shalini, quickly respond. Yes,
you have done it.
Gaurav.
Yes.
Gaurav, if he is finished, please understand that carrying a sword symbolically is not a problem. While throwing stones and pelting stones.
Please read the Arms Act.
Absolutely.
Please read the Arms Act. You told me you are not here to... You told me you are not here to educate me. Let me educate you. Let me please educate you under Arms Act, procurement and supplying of swords is a crime.
There was a further
Schedule 1, in Schedule 1,
by the rods and the swords which came from inside the masjid. We are first tackling that situation and post that.
Track them also. I'm not saying don't track them. Track them also. Track both sides.
Absolutely, we are tracking that. So that is the first priority.
Let me educate you.
Because there were people who have been hurt. There have been loss of life.
Tell me, yes.
There has been loss of life.
Tell me what.
And that is the reason why we are first tackling the priority.
Well, the priority must remain legal and penal action against the accused. Whether swords, whoever used swords, whoever broke the law, the strictest possible action needs to be taken. I've run out of time on this part of the show. Sir. But we will be tracking the story very closely because communal violence cannot be permitted in a democracy. Courts of law, once they've ruled, those orders need to be followed in toto, in letter and in spirit. And we'll be tracking the story closely. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me.